The following is rated TV MALSV. It contains strong language, violence, and nudity. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to this random stream. I am Devious Dave Rose. And today is not a good day for my foes. Day was going fairly okay. And then stuff in real life decided to get real. And I have very little tolerance for this. So unfortunately now the cork to the fires of Hades has been removed. And that will ooze its way into today's broadcast. So, for those that step into the fire, you will be burned. As we always do, let's start off the stream by showing our gratitude and appreciation for all those that have chosen to spend their time with us here today. Starting with Will Tactics, Bry Guy, Ronald Booth, Steve Callan, Inspector Todd, Chad, Nikki J, Jay Diz, Tab, and the man with two first names. So, random stream, I could feel through the force that many of you were yearning for a broadcast. And I can't blame you. Ken was going to go live yesterday, and unfortunately he couldn't. And tonight, thankfully, we do have the Dirty Rotten podcast. And I always look forward to that show. Those three are always very entertaining. They cover subjects that I like. They don't have a piece of shit like Mello on there. And sometimes they let me call in. Or sometimes ask me to call in. Sometimes I just like sitting back and listening to the guys talk and stuff. But yeah, always very cool to interact with them, especially on the topics that aren't too keen for Nikki 9, but VP and Mars are definitely down with. So yeah, that's going down tonight. I'm not too sure what topics will be discussed. They could talk about how the Chinese, in quotations, accidentally left their second final stage tumble uncontrollably back into the atmosphere. And it launched the first piece of their permanently manned space station into orbit. But this booster, essentially this second last stage booster, is now on an uncontrolled tumble through the atmosphere, and although it's being tracked by NORAD and all these other organizations, they don't know where it's going to land. And there's a good chance that it might land on, some cities or something, and being as large as it is, it won't all burn up in the atmosphere. Shout out to Festlove there in the chat. So there may be a problem, and the Chinese, appear to have done this on purpose. So we're going to see what happens with this, and it should be a few more days before it finally reaches, a good portion of the atmosphere. I think right now, or yesterday, I was watching the tracking, 265 kilometers up. So we will see something. And you might have also heard about I can't remember where it was. I think it was over Portland. There was something that was seen falling back in the atmosphere, and that was actually one of the stages for the SpaceX rocket that took the second capsule up to the space station. And in Florida, I believe, Starlink, well, SpaceX launched their more of their Starlink constellation of satellites, and it was a whole line of lights just going through the sky and such. And many people reported UFOs and such, but the fact was it was just SpaceX releasing all these mini satellites at once. And people should be very concerned about that. I forgot the name already. Skylink, because first of all, most of Tesla and its parent or its partner organizations are all funded by taxpayer money. And there seems to be some very suspicious activity when it comes to what Elon Musk is doing, including faking some of his videos and such. So that's something I will examine in the future. But the Skylink constellation is concerning because it's all public money, but it's basically government and military control, which just basically is just creating an additional intelligence grid to monitor anybody that it chooses. And they initially said it was going to be free internet, then it became affordable internet, and I've seen some of the prices now. There's I think a transmission station somewhere in the east coast of Canada, and they're offering now, or they're starting to put their price range together in regards to what you would get for the internet that you'd get through Skylink. So we'll see where that goes. Shout out to Bono's in the chat. I do have many things to discuss. There's some drama, but there wasn't going to be a drama diner today because there's just a lot of different things that could be discussed, but nothing that would require, clip reviews and that sort of thing. But if, some of the people involved would like to call in, I'm more than willing to accept these calls. But what was it? There's a lot of stuff going on right now with Bullfrog. And he has been harassing quite a few people as of late, including myself. So I think it's important to discuss what's been said, because he is attempting to, yet again, pull the Bullfrog, which is like a dance move because there's a certain number of steps and it just repeats. As soon as you've done the number of steps, you just go right back over to the beginning. So as we all know, it's basically, I can do what I want. Oh, these people are shitting on me. Oh, fight my battles. Oh, okay, fuck you. Okay, I go to this other person. Oh, did you hear? This person's fighting me now. And then, the next day you go back to the other person, apologize, you shit on that second person you went to. By the way, Ryan Murray, we don't refer to nickels here. We refer to gnocchis, as in that delicious Italian pasta. Gnocchi. Delizioso. Ronald Booth says, Lockjaw went after Bullfrog too, LOL. I've not seen this. I believe I heard YR say that Lockjaw did release recent videos, but I'm not subscribed to Lockjaw, and I can't seem to find the channel. So if someone wants to send that to me, just, we can review it. But I'm not aware of that being done on Bullfrog. I do believe I remember hearing a clip that he was playing that had me on there. Like Wire was playing on his show and it had me on there, and it had somebody else. It might have had Tony on there. I can't remember. But that, when SC Steve's on Wire shows, I can't watch that shit. It's just too much. I mean, I can somehow deal with Keith, mostly. I can sort of deal with Bullfrog. Tony, he's quick to tuck tail, because he knows he's not going to win the argument with me. I'm too powerful, I have too much knowledge, and he's done too many drugs. So, it's Steve. Steve is a problem. Let's see here. Chad says just a bunch of clips with no talking from them. Interesting. Ronald Booth says it was last night. Well, I don't know. Like, I know that I believe YR went live last night, but there's no video up anymore. So, yeah, I don't know. Chili Cheese J says it's a whole lot of nothing. Well, just like basically everything Lockjaw has done at the, to this point. I mean, it was so fun. It's like, if you don't do this, Scott, you're gonna, regret this, and we're gonna release this video, blah blah blah. And then Lockjaw went silent, and then Lockjaw tried to come back at me, like I think it was during the tribunal time, and maybe a bit after. It's just like, well, what do you got? And it was nothing. Oh, let me accept this call or this link here. Thank you very much, Mr. Booth. And so this is a labeled, or titled, I should say, Response to Bullfrog, premiered 17 hours ago. Oh, that's very interesting. 3 comments. Obviously, first comment is one of the typical, one of those sex sites, So they tag a time, and then they just put the link underneath it, puts it up at the top. Then there's foul-mouthed fuck. So yet again, another pussy who feels they've been wronged by Ken, or somebody on Ken's show, and they say, yes, exclamation mark. And then for some reason, Keith Rabarber replies with, yes, exclamation mark. Well, let's hear this.
Drew McCarthy is interested in more than just a good... Listen, he's having no trouble...
Could you say it again?
He... Speller in the white...
On your screen.
Said earlier, Steve, undefeated...
You're...
It's simple for...
This is simple.
Program on therapeutic fiber.
Head to Broadway by way of the ball boxing.
The whole project will collapse.
7 minutes of this shit? Really?
I'm not...
Oh, now he plays it. Hold on. Okay, so now he's starting to play other stuff.
What's up, my niggas? Yo, this is Keith.
Finally, I fucking snapped and I yelled right out loud, look, I'm not fucking rich.
There was a time, I guess, when Lockjaw at least put things a bit, put things together a bit better. But, he's playing around, obviously, with some new special effects and stuff here, so he must be spending his time on that since he doesn't have much content to work with. Or that he can actually work with. That's the bigger thing. You can, there's some of us, like your superiors, Lockjaw, that can take a morsel and give a meal. Can literally feed thousands with just 2 fish.
Just take your food in your hand.
Let's get started.
It's the fucking SC grease. You're called out on your lies, and you're trying to deflect again. You lied. You know this. But rather than just say, you know what, you're correct.
I'm sorry, I apologize. Fuck myself.
No, you don't have to say that. You just have to say that you lied. And that...
I lied, okay, I lied.
Yeah, no, we heard you the first time. We heard you the first time. We heard... Relax. We heard you the first time.
Big fucking deal.
Your voice, okay?
Raise my voice fucking 10 times loud. How about that, you fucking spickhead?
Spickhead, huh?
Fucking
Bullfrog.
you call you fucking racist bullshit. How about that, motherfucker?
Go, say it. Shit.
Fuck off. Why don't you go fucking run your truck off the Atlantic City Bridge?
Oh my god. Alright.
So boring, Lockjaw. So fucking boring.
Again. Because I should have to call fucking 26 fucking times on Ken's show to get a fucking call or an answer.
There's entitlement.
So that's completely disrespectful. To that fucking retard.
And he doesn't need you.
The guy's a fucking retard.
Well,
and I'll
wait,
say
hey,
it to
hold
his
on.
fucking face. And I'll say to his fucking face. I'll say to McKell's fucking face. The guy's
Joe
a fucking
Cronin.
retard.
Joe Cronin needs Bullfrog way more than Bullfrog needs Joe.
Exactly.
Yeah, man, they can try leave.
My point.
Joe
Bullfrog,
Cronin,
stop
dude,
it. I haven't even played the clip. I mean,
Joe
this is what you
Cronin,
get when you throw in fucking all these knuckleheads, dude. I mean, come on.
Joe
I haven't
Cronin
even played the
and
clip.
Just say something?
Because these rookies want to, blab them off. Let me play the...
Just stop. Don't. Tony, just stop. Just stop with this rookie stuff. You're green, dude. You're fucking green when it comes to this community. Stop with this, oh, I've been around and you're rookies and stuff. No. And especially someone like me who's been around so long. Just listen. Stop it.
The fucking clip for Nikki J. God
He
damn
left already. He left. He left.
Why the fuck should you stopping the show, Bullfrog, and blabbing your mouth? Let me play the clip for the kid. Now the kid left.
Oh,
Like,
well, that's not. Well, that sounds like a personal problem, not my problem.
Oh, well, it sounds like you're gonna be off the show in fucking 2 seconds.
It ain't your show. It's YR's
It is
channel.
my show, goddammit.
No,
It is my.
It's YR's channel.
Why-
It's YR's channel.
Why
faggot.
show?
YR can fire your ass, you dumbass.
Yeah. You know what he'll be doing tomorrow?
Play your fucking clip and fucking shut the fuck up.
Not playing the
Play your
clip.
Can I just say something? clip.
I'm fucking almost done with the stream. I got 5
Play
more
your
minutes, and then you
clip.
guys can run the stream.
Any day now, Piano Boy, we're waiting on the clip.
Oh, Bullfrog's running the stream. He's gonna run the show. Wow. Watch why I end the stream in 2 seconds.
I feel it.
Not my problem.
I feel
Yeah,
it.
and that's all Bullfrog wants to do is ruin our fucking shit. And so you constantly put him in here. Why, maybe he'll smarten up soon.
I'll make way. I want to listen to the clip. I'll leave. I'll be listening.
As good as Bullfrog is sometimes, he's got a lot of weak points.
Yeah, look who's talking, Piano Boy.
Yeah, I know.
You gonna play your clip or what, or am I gonna die of old age?
Oh, because you're just going to stop me again, so I'm not playing any more clips. You guys can just talk.
Oh, you fucking sissy.
Well, Nikki J
What
left.
is your real problem with McKellen?
Hold on. Okay, so he might have a emo style haircut and he was in that boy band, but first of all, we can guarantee he's gotten more pussy fucking in his up to whatever age he is than you'll ever get, Bullfrog, for one. And he's still way more masculine than you. So you're going to call him a sissy when you seem to be taking offense at literally everything, but are just totally blind at seeing how you are generating this reaction.
Anyway.
Play the clip.
The guy's a fucking retard.
I'm trying to play Cronin shit.
Hello, Kettle.
Are you mistaking speech impediment with retardism?
Fuck it up.
Yes, I am. I don't give a flying
Stop.
shit about the
Two
fucking
different
guy.
things. He just has a problem talking. That's it. And talking isn't necessarily intelligence, Bullfrog. Trust me.
Listen, we got a lot of good clips to cover, and you guys are really holding me up.
Well, play your clips and shut your fucking pie hole.
You're the one that won't shut the fuck up.
I'm ready when you are,
You're
princess.
ready. Are you ready to shut up?
Yeah.
All right, good. Shut it. Shut your damn pie hole then.
Phone lines are open if anyone wants to do some last.
Well, we were going to probably wrap it up, but I mean.
Yo, big, yo, save.
Yeah, what a terrible fucking terrible video. But yeah. Oh, so Shid says it was a response to Bullfrog begging Lockjaw for help. I've never heard of Bullfrog asking Lockjaw for help or even knowing who he was, so I don't know. But I do think that it is time for me to read off. It's story time, gentlemen, children. Gather around. So, as you might remember, when we last left off, somewhat, I had done my show the other day, my drama diner. It was a great success, great sales, no COVID transmission. And obviously you remember that Bullfrog was on the show. Now, afterwards, I must preface by saying, I had indicated to him that when the initial tribunal was planned, well, it wasn't just planned out of some sort of frivolity. Only a fucking moron would do a video without basing it on anything and try to make a point, right? I mean, that's just normal. Apparently people are stupid. But, you know, that some people would say, and Bullfrog has even said this, it's like, well, what are you going to talk about? It's like, first of all, it's none of your business. You'll find out eventually. But then they'll say, oh, well, you got nothing to talk about. But then they're desperate to find out what it is. So they just don't seem to clue in that if you're going to do something like that, make a video review on somebody or even a tribunal, that you're going to have to base it on something. And for them to even question whether or not I'm capable of doing that or even have anything to do it is ludicrous on its own. So Bullfrog was somewhat skeptical, at least publicly, about whether or not somebody had provided me with actual video testimony in regards to their interaction with him. A male, indicating that they had been sexually harassed. So he was very adamant to try to get that information. I told him I wasn't going to give it to him. So what happened next was, after the show ended, a beautiful, glorious 7 hours and I think 7 minutes or something, 10:55 p.m., I get this message from Bullfrog. He says, please tell me who screenshot me. I need to know. Quadruple exclamation mark. And again, this is like a somebody who's been accused of murder saying, who accused me of murder? I just want to visit them. I just want to talk to them. Come on. Don't be stupid. Okay. And then he responds, he follows up by saying, I'll let you talk with Jason if you show me, double exclamation mark, which is his brother. If you watched, a screenshot was sent of me of this, but if you watched, I think it was yesterday's AEW review, or maybe Tuesday with Cronin, his throwdown. Bullfrog sent a photo of his brother to Cronin, and Cronin displayed it out on the stream. And actually, I was confused. I thought there was this other guy who was his brother. So this is his brother. He looks like one of the Lost Briscoes, to be honest. And I can start to see a little bit, I can see the unrefined genetic issues there, but obviously not anywhere close to Bullfrog. But yeah, that was featured on Joe's show the other day, and well, to be honest, Bullfrog, you can't talk shit if somebody takes a screenshot of that and shows it on their own streams, because you chose to make that public, provide that to Joe, not argue for him to put it on screen. So, you've made that public information. You need to understand that. It's not just Facebook and stuff that you're sloppy with. It's just that, if you make this available publicly, now it was seen literally by thousands of people. So you can't ever take that away. The internet is forever. Yes, Veslov. Serious. If you see the picture, you'll understand. He wasn't smiling, though, so I didn't know whether or not he had a full set of teeth. But considering his brother has none, well, that's where my, inclination seems to fit the stated facts already. Regardless, I sent him a beautiful, I like to reply in meme, and it was an animated GIF of Rorschach from the movie Watchmen, who in the beginning is basically giving that sort of story of what's going to happen in the future. The politicians and whores will look up, and while they're swimming in the blood of society, and they're going to look up and scream, "Help us," and I'm going to whisper, "No." So I sent him that image. It's very poetic, I think. And I like Rorschach, the character. So, yeah, so basically, no. And then he replies with, "You're lost," double exclamation mark, but it's spelled "you are." Also, and then he says right after, like literally right after, "Let's make a trade," triple exclamation mark. And then I say, "For what?" And he says, "For the screenshots." And his next statement is, "I don't need this drama shit," double exclamation mark. And then I reply with, "But you bring this drama stuff on yourself, and what do you plan to give me in exchange for these screenshots?" And obviously, because he's got nothing to give, he replies with, "I called Joe. I apologized to him." I'm like, what does that have to do with me? He replies with, "I just had 20 minutes talk. He forgives me." And I said, "I heard you on a show, and it doesn't sound anything like what you're describing." He says, "I was apologized." I'm reading it exactly how he says it. "I was apologized for talking shit about Joe." Notice how basically, shout out Irish Dave, shout out Z the Reaper. But yeah, basically I was discussing, I should say, the whole thing where he's like, let's do a trade for the screenshots. And I'm like, "For what?" And then just goes on. Nothing like he never made that offer. And bringing up Joe, it's just like, but I don't work with Joe, and that has nothing to do with me. So what the fuck is he bringing that up for? It's like, that has nothing to do with Joe. So then the next day, he sends me a message at 1:56 a.m. "I found out who took the screenshots. It was either Kevin or Bobby or that troll that got into my server." Now, if he found out who took it, then he should know who took it. He can't just start throwing out all these different names. So clearly he doesn't know. So he's lying again. Then he replies at 6:32 in the morning. "I'm telling you this now!" Triple exclamation mark, or quadruple exclamation mark. "This is the 10th time I've asked you to please stop making videos about me," triple exclamation mark. "And this is the 10th time I'm telling you to please leave me and my family. My brother isn't a part of this toxic community. I'm begging you, please leave me alone. You're wasting this trial. Go pick out another victim. Please leave me alone," triple exclamation mark. Dave Rose, "I'm tired of repeating myself." Fuck you. Fuck you, Bullfrog, for saying you're tired of repeating yourself when we're tired of hearing you repeat yourself, for one. And then you say, "Oh, I can't help myself. I can't help myself." Fuck you. He continues on by saying, in quotations, in capitals now, "Leave me alone," quadruple exclamation mark, degree sign. "You are," with the letters, "you are wasting, you are time with me, with period, me," quadruple exclamation mark, quadruple skull faces, quintuple questioning faces, capitalized, "Leave me alone," septuple exclamation mark, "Stop harassing me," quadruple exclamation mark. And before I continue, I'm just gonna keep an eye here on the chat. We got Nikki J say, "Yes, Dave, yes." And let's continue. And my reply is, "Nope, wasn't either of them. And you're harassing me by contacting me," which he is. Remember, I had him blocked for the longest time, and he would still try to contact me. And then I say, "I can do shows on whoever I want. I'm 41 years old. Isn't that the reason you always use?" So, and that was my reply, was at 9:49 a.m. in the morning. Then yesterday, so it's the day after the message I sent him, he tells me at 2:32 in the afternoon, he's like, "Are you going to do a trial on me this Friday? Tony said you was." He actually said that. "Tony said you was." "Dude, I'm begging you, don't expose me. I have a family." So you're admitting that by doing a video, I'm going to expose you. So here's the thing. People who aren't guilty don't really care about being exposed because they've done nothing wrong. But if you're saying that you're going to be exposed, well, that kind of indicates that you're worried about something. And you've always been worried about something. You always have. And any time that people brought this up, you freaked the fuck out. And I brought this up in the past. But you want to try to ignore it. Mm-mm. And then he replied, and then he sent another message 5 minutes after. Oh, no, actually, he called me. So he sent the message at 2:32. Then he calls me at 2:35. Then he texts me or messages me at 2:37. Are you going to do a trial on me this Friday? Tony said you was. He says the exact same thing. Then he calls me at 2:39 p.m. And my reply is, Tony is a known liar. And yes, you are, Tony. You're a known liar. And then he's like, okay, that's what I thought. And I replied, again, something that I should never have to reply. But, okay, Bullfrog, you're pulling this on yourself. You're the one who's basically positioned yourself for a tribunal. But my response is, no one speaks on my behalf. People seem to think that, oh, I heard this from this person. Rather than actually use my mind and think, would Dave Rose even do that? No, I'm going to try to contact Dave Rose and insult him, not only by approaching someone who clearly is my superior, but asking him a question that's totally ludicrous, that I should have figured out on my own. That applies to fucking Dr. Earl, when he had a fake Dave Rose in his chat. And he's like, I don't know if that's the real Dave Rose. Maybe I should call him. He calls me like 3 times in a row while I'm cooking, and I keep hanging up. I was like, that doesn't make sense. Let me call back again. And then he's like, oh, Dave Rose called into my show, and he freaked out. No, I think there's a certain tolerance that us normal people are allowed to have when it comes to those that are, genetically deficient. And that's just the way it is, okay? Okay. This is just the truth. But back to the chat here, or the messaging. He's like, that's what I told Tony. I said Rose would have told me, T-O-L-E, told me, on streaming show that day. No, I wouldn't have. Who the fuck are you to think that I would just, oh, by the way, Bullfrog, heads up, you're going to be on the next tribunal. Really? Really? No, you think too much of yourself, Jeremiah. Then he goes on, he says, I think you were just busting my balls that show. But I'm ready to try to be a better person. I really am trying. And I reply with, I wasn't joking. If you keep this up, people will offer me so much money to do a tribunal that I will have no other option to do so. And he puts a little cry face on the fucking statement there, emoji. And he goes on and he's like, well, I don't trust people anymore. Someone has took new screenshots of my DMs and sent them to you. People just want to burn me and see me go down just like they did with Scott. They want the next person, ! Nobody cares about me or my family. Everything is about money and entertainment now to these sick YouTube people now. I'll tell you this, if nobody hasn't paid you by next week, money, then they need to stop harassing me. I think that's only fair to me. Life isn't fair. You still haven't fucking understood this. Which makes pursuing this grail that much more necessary. Then he sends a screenshot that says, let me just read this. Okay, so this is a tweet he actually put out. It's a pinned tweet, apparently. He might have pulled it down because I don't remember seeing it. But if nobody, the grammar is just atrocious. If nobody hasn't come forward to pay Dave Rose $1 for this trail, then you guys need to stop harsing me. You guys don't care about me or my family. You guys just want to see me burn just like Scott Alien Face. You guys don't care about my feelings or my family. You guys are sick people. ! And then he said today, this morning at 8:58, he's like, tell YR and his crew to stop adding me Skype group chat rooms before I delete my Skype account. I just want to be left alone. I'm done with YR and shit shows. I just want to be, I'm done with YR and shit shows, ! I just want to be left alone. Quintuple! Exclamation mark. So, that's all him messaging me. Talk about harassment. And let me go back to the chat before I continue here. So, the men, the mist, the legend. Dave has way more viewers than Young Republican and Tony the Liar. Well, today I do. The men, he also says, I love Dave Rose live stream. Yeah, sure you do. Jay Diz says, attention-seeking, harassment, needy ass. Is his family aware of what he does on the internet? Dude needs a hobby seriously, outside seriously. The men says, Bullfrog is a disgusting human being. I turn off every show that he comes on. Yeah, Jay Diz, that's the thing, though. I think that that's another reason why he's so concerned, is that I don't think his family knows what he does online. And I think that's probably the biggest concern he has about having these clips replayed for them and even speaking to somebody in his family. Now, he refuses to admit it. And I'm sorry, well, as long as he refuses to admit it, we have to treat him normal. But the fact is, I suspect that there's some serious mental issues there. And I want to know why. I want to know why this guy can literally sit on his ass all day, pick up on fucking government money, which is your money, and then, you know, talk like the way he does. Like, I can talk shit on anybody, but oh my God, the first time somebody talks shit on me, I've got to go and recruit people to fight my battles. And the constant fucking turnover where it's like back and forth, like, oh, I just want to go with whoever is going to give me the time of day and fight my battles for me. And until we find out he's actually retarded, you know, and find out why he's allowed even to live the way he is and not in an institution or something, we got to basically take him at his word that he's perfectly normal. So therefore, he's got to be held accountable to normal laws. Yes, man, with two first names. He does have a brother, and the guy's younger than him. I believe he said he was the same age as Joe, so I think Joe's 36, so that would make him 5 years younger than Bullfrog. But it's funny, though, because he was telling me that, or he was telling everyone really on one of his shows, or Ken's shows, that his brother used to bully him, and his brother's taller than him, so you know he's bigger. But it's funny though that it's the younger brother that was bullying Bullfrog. But the fact is that he's just not getting it, and you know there's a certain point where people get tired of this, and if people keep suggesting to do a tribunal on the guy and they're willing to pay money for it. You know, who am I to turn that down? Especially when he's actually offered money, bounties, I should say, on doing the same thing on other people. But it's not fair to do it on him. So, you know, it's... Look, Bullfrog can get along with people when he lets it. But it's the same with many other people in this community where some people, I guess, go overboard and, you know, some people have to put them in check because, you know, some of us don't want to be around that. And if they're going to force themselves onto us, just like, for example, with Ken, he doesn't know Bullfrog taking his calls. Neither do I. And if Bullfrog thinks that I can't talk about him on the internet, then he's a fucking moron and he deserves even more videos. He's 41 years old. He's perfectly capable of defending himself. And if he can't, well, then he's got to stay off the internet. It's as simple as that. Or he's got to change his name and not be, you know, the asshole Bullfrog that he is. But for people who think, oh, well, you got to take it easy on him and stuff. No, you are what made society as fucking weak as it is. And you're even more guilty than Bullfrog. Bullfrog is just a symptom of today's society. He's not the cause of it. He's a symptom of weakness, cowardice, and stupidity, and willful ignorance. Feelings over facts. That's what produced a fucking Bullfrog. That's what fucking produced him. But it doesn't mean he's not accountable for his actions. And at 41 years old, if you want to act like a 2-year-old, you're going to be treated like a 2-year-old. But you're still legally responsible for being a 41-year-old fat ass. Okay? Okay. Back to the chat here. Genius says, I hope there's a photo out there of Bullfrog with his teeth still in. Doubt it. Truth Seeker says people like him do say whatever, then use the handicap BS to get sympathy. Absolutely. And it's unacceptable. I'll never tolerate that shit. Man with 2 first names says, Joe's another person that should take up exercise as a hobby. I think he does exercise or when he can. He continues, says, Dave, have you heard of the snake diet, prolonged dry fasting? No, I don't think so. I heard something recently of a wet... I've got to look it up. It's a method of cooking food when you go out into the wilderness and stuff without heat. So, but yeah, let us know what you know about that. But the Bullfrog thing, and I think it was very comical that the other day he just went right to Joe's show, and you could hear that he's, he was trying to garner sympathy. He was trying to say, oh, well, I was just on Dave Rowe's show, and he was shitting on me. And Joe, at that point, just lost it. Just, I don't want to hear about this shit no more. You coming here to talk about this? Don't even have the show fucking started yet, and this is what you want to fucking, whine about. So, Bullfrog thinks it's fine. But nobody else that he does it to thinks it's fine. So everyone needs to just bend over for Bullfrog. He gets the fucking red carpet because he's retarded? No. Won't happen for fucking Tommy. Won't happen for you, Bullfrog. And it's time that people started to, stand up to this shit. Ken, if you're getting annoyed with him calling in, just don't take his call. Junebug, if you're annoyed that he talks shit about you and is willing to stab you in the back, just don't take his fucking call. The guy has few options left, and I mean, the change is within him. He can easily make himself a better person and stop doing what everyone's told him this, not just me. But, I am one of the louder voices, and I'm tired of the harassment because, again, look at the shit that I fucking went through. The number of messages I got from him, the time between the different messages, the number of times he called me. That's harassment. That's fucking harassment. Me making a video on him, on what he's done, on public streams, there's neither anything illegal or immoral about that. The only problem is Bullfrog's feelings. Well, guess what? I don't give a fuck about your feelings. Okay? I don't know why you think that I should, or why anyone thinks, oh, you gotta care about my feelings. Why? Explain to me why. Because the facts don't matter? Because you were raised a fucking spoiled bitch brat, and you should be allowed to do whatever the fuck you want? Says who? Try that in the fucking real world. But you're protected. Oh, you don't have to work. You don't have to bust your ass off. But no, you can just carry on any way you fucking want. Jadiz says, yeah, at least Tommy knows his place and has a better understanding about life and how things work. DDR said it best the other day. His parents gave him a good upbringing and foundation. Exactly. And that's what everyone just, if everyone has that, problems in later life lessen dramatically on all aspects. Stress levels, the ability to form both trusting partnerships and romantic relationships. Financial stability. Just there's tons of stuff that generates from that. Steve Langenheim says, Frog thinks calling people over and over is funny. He needs help. Yes, he does need help. Genius says, DDR, what are your thoughts on Nicky J? He's just a viewer of many people. He called out Bullfrog on his shit. Don't know what you're getting at. Man with two first names says Cole Robinson's channel called Snake Diet. He has great information. Experiment that himself. Purposely get fat to show how fast he loses it through dry fasting. Well, I'm not fat, so I don't need to look into fasting. I'll check it out. It's interesting. But this, this has to be addressed, for one, and people have to stop just sort of bending over for the guy and just saying, okay, well, all right, fine. We'll just tolerate this. No, Bullfrog, we're tired of this. We're all tired of this, and we don't want to deal with it no more. So, I mean, nobody's telling him to stop streaming. There's been so many times where he's like, hey, people want me to stop. You heard this the other day on my stream. He's just like, he's not listening. Well, sorry, that's not my problem if you're not listening. But you get to choose what you do. If you think you need to end up quitting, okay. Nobody's telling you to do that, but go ahead and quit. If you can actually be that 41-year-old adult that you're always trying to hold over other people, well, then you better damn well start acting like an adult. Not just not talking shit if you don't want shit thrown back at you, but acting in a respectful, mature manner. If you call Ken one time and he doesn't take your call, or he hangs up on the call, well, you know he's doing a stream, so how about you wait? You don't want to wait? Well, then you're going to be treated in that manner. It's as simple as that. And I think we're all, I mean, if Bullfrog continues to try to impose himself on the community, I still think that he owes us an explanation as to why. Because that's the thing, though. If, for example, we find out that this guy suffered massive head trauma as a kid and he ended up eating a lot of paint chips and, like, he's literally fucking retarded and he's got a nurse that comes in to clean between his flabs of fat and change his diaper and that stuff, well, it becomes a little more understandable. Okay, this guy really is fucking retarded. And he's not capable of literally doing anything. And, okay, well, now we know. So those of us who don't want to deal with someone who is so deficient, well, we can purposely avoid that person altogether. And those that actually want to be around that person, well, they can continue to be around that person. But until you know that this person actually is that deficient, we have to take them on their word that they're not. We have to, because he says he's perfectly fine, perfectly normal, just as capable as everyone else. He's 41 years old. He's an adult. He can do whatever he wants. So we got to take him at his word. So if we're going to take him as an adult, we got to treat him as an adult. Seaman says, I still like the guy, but he actually banned me from his Discord the other day. I tried telling him that kind of stuff is what makes people dislike him. I hope he gets it soon, man. It was after I was trying to defend him on the call, too. Well, I remember you tried to defend him on the call, and he thought that you were there just to attack him. And he didn't even give you the opportunity to explain it. And even I tried to clarify the whole situation. But again, for Bullfrog, it's not about anybody else. It's about him. And, well, if that's the case, then we have to address that. He can't get offended that somebody is addressing his conduct when he is literally, as Jay Diz has dubbed him, community hoe. He is purposely going on to other channels every time he gets, and very often when somebody tells him something he doesn't want to hear, you see what happened the other day after my show. It goes right to Joe. And it's not about, oh, okay, Joe, I just want to get my mind off that other stuff. You know, yeah, wrestling was shitty or whatever. It's like, Dave Rose. Dave Rose was talking about me. You want to fight my battles for me, please? That's what it is. And then, goes to Ken and goes to YR and all that stuff. And that's his conduct. He's responsible for that conduct. He knows what he's doing. So he's got to be held accountable for that. And, if we were able to find out exactly why he is the way he is, then maybe we would have a little more compassion or sympathy for his conduct. But as it stands right now, according to what he claims he is, adult, mature, 41 years old, able to do whatever he wants, well, then he has to explain for his actions. He's got to be held accountable for his actions. So it's up to Bullfrog, really. if he wants to finally do what's right, or if he thinks that he can continue jumping from ship to ship, sending messages to people about, oh, I want you to fight my battles for me, or, you know, tell these other people to stop bothering me. Like, that's another thing. Like, who the fuck you think you are telling me to tell YR and his crew to stop talking about you? Who the fuck do you think you are? Who the fuck do you think you are? That goes right back to what I was talking about earlier and in previous episodes, where you somehow believe that you can just sign people up to fight your battles for you. So, or that somebody represents somebody else just because they've been associated with them or just been on a show. So, the presumption is disgusting. To make this assumption that you can do whatever you want, conduct yourself yourself however you want, and then start volunteering people to fight your battles for you. So you are going to be held accountable for this, Bullfrog. It's as simple as that. And you're like, oh, think of my family. You should have thought about your family after, you know, before you started doing what you were doing on the internet. I mean, I very much suspect that if they heard what you said online, they'd probably be very concerned. I think especially about the sexual nature stuff, the niece stuff, what he admitted about having feelings for a family member, the bisexual gay stuff. I think that if they heard all that stuff, as well as the accounts of all the sexual harassment that he's done, they'd probably take his computer from him. Which is why, again, I suspect that's why he's always been so panicked. And, you know, I always thought it was odd that he didn't want to show his pantry, and, you know, the niece thing was always something that really got to him. So, you know, that just makes me suspicious, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. So, these things need to be addressed. And, you know, anyone who looks into it isn't doing a bad thing. Let's go back to the chat here real quick. Steve Langenheim, Jada says 100%. Steve Langenheim says he does have a dent on his head too, I think. I don't know. The Truth Seeker says, give me a second here, just taking something out of my eye. Something is clearly wrong with him. Well, it is, but he says that he's perfectly fine. So we got to take him at his word. Justin McNeil says he doesn't call Ken a bunch of times. Then he says he shouldn't have to call Ken 40 times before he answers. Thank you for picking that out. Very good job. Something I did want to address, but obviously I'd forgotten. But the hypocrisy is just totally revealed with this. So, no, Ken, I don't call you a bunch of times. But then he comes out and he admits, well, I'm so important. After all, I literally am the smartest person in the community, the most entertaining, the most attractive, the most knowledgeable. I'm everything in this community. And as such, why do I even have to call one time into Ken's show? Ken should be just hammering my phone, calling me to be on his show. That's what fucking Bullfrog actually thinks. Okay, fine, he can think that, but if I do this stream and I call it out and we all laugh at it, rightfully so, don't cry about it, Bullfrog. That was your decision. You chose to say that. And you chose to do that. Because we do know that you call multiple times. I sure do. And we do know that you lie about this because we have that clip the other day where we forced you to admit that you were lying. Now, it's just hilarious that you had just lost so much that you couldn't get around it. So you're like, okay, fine, I lied. It never even needed to get to that point. Once you realize that you can't win, that you can't just lie past normal people, that's why, again, you need to fucking understand your role. You're not normal, so stop calling yourself normal. But until you do, you're considered normal, you get normal rules applied to you. So you think that somehow you can just say that, and it's perfectly fine. It's the Costanza says, special needs people do not need access to social media, just like all the current wrestling fans with disabilities. Wow. J.R. Ford III shows a water gun pointing at a frog face. Steve Langenheim says, wouldn't be surprised if Frog did what ED445 did. I believe that's that big fat black guy that was caught trying to solicit sex from underage minors. Well, I kind of repeat myself. They're minors if they're underage. Shid says he just keeps putting his foot in it. What is in it? It's his foot. Yep. And he's, I mean, he's going to be called to account. It's a thing. I mean, and people who associate with him, you know, are going to be questioned. Why, first of all, do you continue to have him on there? And second, why do you keep bitching if he's going to keep doing this shit? Because he's clearly chosen that he is more important than the conduct that everyone else has, you know, fucking in this community. You know, I mean, shit. You've had fights between, say, YR and Ken about, no, you go live first. No, you go live first. No, you go live first. You know, so it's just like there's a lot of people in the community that do view things with respect and do attempt to, you know, keep things in check and find a nice balance working with people. Festlove says, I'm surprised that he hasn't tried to call in yet. I'm a little surprised, but I do see that he is online right now, and this is usually his wake-up time, I believe. You know, he goes to sleep 6, 7 in the morning, and then wakes up 2, 3. And I don't know, I guess he starts his day the faggoty way and breaks open the cap of a nice, warm bottle of Pepsi. And he just chugs that down past his flappy gums, moves around a bit in bed, and then finally, slowly rises. Truth Seeker says, probably eating pizza. Frog, Steve Langenheim says, probably busy eating pizza and due right now. Yeah, everyone seems to think that he's got the pizza on the mind. Dave, I have $5 to donate if you set up a Streamlabs, Steve Callan says. I'll have to do it another day. It would take time for me to do it online. I don't think I can actually... Well, I need to install that because I've got OBS, not Streamlabs, installed. So, yeah, soon. I will do that soon. Genius says, I stay busy. Doing what? I stay busy. Yes, we talked about that the other day. And he won't go into detail. So we already have a confirmed liar who is just trying to skirt around the fact that he's being called out on something that everyone can transparently see through. You know, what does he keep busy with? He literally sits on his ass watching movies. That's all he does. He watches, and he told me the other day, a few weeks ago, he's like, oh, I've got all these shows to watch. So he watches a ton of TV. The guy's obsessed with fucking watching stupid Raw. So he'll actually sit through those 3 hours and shit. And he actually takes a nap sometimes just so that he can stay awake to watch that garbage, which says a lot about fucking Raw. So he'll do that. He'll fucking play video games, because we know he plays video games, and sleep, and maybe, you know, throw in a Delicio fucking pizza into the fucking oven. Like, there is no staying busy. He doesn't stay busy. And if he wants to argue it, then he's got to give us fucking examples. And in fact, I would suggest photographic proof. Or he could submit the GPS logs of his phone to show that he actually moved around. But we know this. We know that's not the case. We know that he's going to lie. And if he's going to lie, well, he's going to get called out for it. But we know that he does not fucking... he doesn't stay busy. He's got no hobbies. I guess other than video games and really shitty streams. but he's got no hobbies outside the house. The guy scoffed at the idea of walking to a fucking farmer's market near him, which apparently are near him, just to get fresh produce. Like, that's an insult. That's an insult. Especially when he gets this attitude like, I can do what I want. Okay, well, I can do a tribunal if I want. You see how that works, dummy? You see how that works? You know what? I think maybe tomorrow I'm going to have to do once I get fucking Streamlabs installed, I'm going to have to do a fucking tribunal auction. Just to see, you know, what kind of bids we can get. Because because I'm getting really tired of this shit too. I'm getting real tired of this shit. And he doesn't get it. And on top of that, he thinks it's funny. Now, we all know that cowards use comedy to avoid conflict. So you heard this the other day where he's on Joe's show. He's like, everything's a fucking joke. Everything's a fucking laugh. Oh, I sexually harass people. I haven't sexually harassed anyone lately. How do you think your brother's going to respond to that? How do you think the police would respond to that? Truth Seeker says, surprised he doesn't have an IV bag full of poop running to his veins. Or a pop. Well, it is poop. But, yeah, I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet either. Langenheim says he sleeps in his own filth. I don't doubt it. Ryan Murray says, busy microwaving garbage food. Yep. Based Alcatraz says, hey, Dave, just finished the FMN stream with you, Mars, Lucky Low. It was one of the best streams recently. Hello to everyone in the chat. Yes, head a letter. Head a letter. It's the Costanza says, I know Bullfrog is listening right now. I know he's listening too. He can call in anytime he wants. Anybody can call in for that matter if they want. Would be nice to have a second voice here that would allow me to rest my pipes. But yeah, if somebody wants to call in and give their fresh take on things, it would be most welcome. But I wanted to address all this stuff that was happening because, again, I'm getting messaged by all these people, including Bullfrog. And, well, Bullfrog doesn't seem to understand the term harassment. And he doesn't understand many other things. And I've tried to make things clear to him, but he refuses to get them. And, again, I mean, if you're a declared adult who can do whatever they want, well, you're legally responsible for that. Now, if you are mentally ill and incapable of, acting like an adult, and you have, I guess, some sort of medical excuse or reason for it, well, then things could change. Things could change, Bullfrog. But because you've always denied the possibility of me speaking to your brother offline, just to figure out, not even stream and make it live or anything, but just to find out why you are as fucked as you are, well, I guess, we're going to have to take your word for it. You're not fucked. You're just a normal person who acts in a very criminal way. And as such, there's nothing at all, there's no problems at all in bringing these crimes up to the attention of everyone, making them public on the internet, and then allowing those that feel that they need to pursue justice to take that information and proof and submit it as evidence to the local authorities. Sounds reasonable to me. Steve Langenham says, Dave, just found out YouTube censors mental institutions and asylums if you type bring back before them. Interesting. I did not know that. Ryan Murray says, had to buy bourbon at the shop, no scotch. Not looking forward to it. Huh. I don't drink bourbon, so I wouldn't know. But yeah, I hope I get the Streamlabs going at some point in the future, hopefully. Just got other things to do, and, I had this moment today. I was bored and had some time. So, yeah, I thought I'd do a little random stream and address, what's been going on with the Bullfrog. And I'm still waiting to hear to hear no hard feelings with the boys, because I do know that they have still a fair bit of things to say, and I do want to chime in on a few of those. We did try to coordinate that for last week, but that did not work. So I guess I'll have to be patient and wait. Also, just a side note there, I'm not sure if you guys noticed, but SpaceX was able to land their SN-15 Starship prototype without any problems yesterday, so that was really cool. Instead of using one rocket nozzle, they used two, and yeah, they made the landing, which was very awesome. So hopefully the weather for you guys is looking good. Still a little chilly here. I'm gonna have to wait till next Wednesday until we can break the double digits, and during the day, because it's still gonna be fucking next week. What is it gonna be in American? It's gonna feel like 34 at night. So it just retarded. Something I do want to mention. Hey, Joe Cronin, slip the jab, bud. He made a video the other day for his Meant to Offend podcast. Yeah, it's just so hard to keep track of all these different podcasts that always disappear. But it was titled like we're all gonna have a microchip, or we're gonna be microchipped by 2040 or something like that. And it was about 30 minutes long. And literally he talked about the microchipping for 5 minutes. And it was just, I'm sorry, Joe, but how the mighty have fallen. Like, you could do better shows even on your own back in the day, and even make it a little more enjoyable, but just the 30 minutes to talk about all this stuff. And there was wrestling in there. There was wrestling. Like, is it so difficult to keep your stuff sort of organized? Like, you've got... Why not just keep a wrestling podcast that's on Patreon, separate from mixing it in with fucking aliens and, all this stuff? And yeah, again, and I think there was another video I remember. Again, it was something along the lines of, and I think it was a Final Frontier News, where he did a video and it was like, I don't know, 30, 45 minutes, an hour, something like that. So it was somewhat longer. And whatever it was titled, I don't remember what it was, but he hardly even talked about it during the fucking podcast. So it just really makes me question, like, A, is that clickbait? Or B, is he just that incompetent that he can't call it something appropriate? And on top of that, why mix it in with wrestling stuff? Meant to offend. I mean, you'd think that's supposed to meant to offend. I mean, like, what's this with the wrestling shit? I mean, don't you do enough wrestling shows as it is? Like, don't you want to at least stay focused on that? So, I mean, you got your 3 wrestling shows during the week, I guess. Or, what was it, Monday? I don't know if there's anything Tuesday. I think he watches NXT. I don't know. And Wednesday, AEW. I don't know if he watches Impact, which is Thursday. And Friday is SmackDown, which he stopped doing. But he's got his little... Well, I know Jake is sort of, out of commission at the moment. But that is, despite what Joe said, it is a wrestling show. Mixed in with other stuff. Again, no focus whatsoever. And, Meant to Offend, also wrestling stuff. It's just so unfocused. And it's not like we haven't told him this before. I was telling him stuff while I was working with him. And he just couldn't get it. Or maybe he thinks he knows better. Let's see here. Guess Bullfrog disliked the stream, says Truth Seeker. Jay Diz says, it's beautiful here. Going to go for my walk right now after my shift from work. Nice. Ryan Murray says, they fire those mentally unfit SJWs by the truckload, then hire a new batch. Yep. Meant to bore, says Truth Seeker. Maybe it was. Ryan Murray says, yeah, there was something about vax passports in Canada today. I forgot what it was. I'm guessing it was because they were for it. It's Canada. You know, I mean, Kukistan. Kanukistan, I should say. Truth Seeker says, I heard monetize this will be Saturdays, so I guess no corrupted. No idea. But that would be an interesting way of imposing onto Ken's established time frame. Because, you know, Ken starts 9:10, I guess. Well, that's when there was Flip-Flop Fridays. No, Saturday. No, I'm thinking. Okay, I'm getting confused here. Saturdays is his, his Insomniac. It's the comedy show. And yeah, that would basically place Joe's Big Gun show, his flagship, essentially, against Ken's flagship. It's the Costanza says, Dave Rose will have his own version of Blood and Guts match. I didn't watch that the other day. Man with two first names says, I love Impact Wrestling. Joe's channel has gotten so piss poor. Blood and Guts was awesome. I'll have to check it out. Steve Langenheim says, White Guilt censored, I think, too, or not. I thought it was. No idea what you're referring to. Dave, what's your thoughts on the new CIA recruitment video? It's disturbing. Yeah, it's, they're getting woke there. And it seems to be that surveillance and intelligence seeking is no longer a priority in the CIA, but just making people feel like they belong. Who cares about national security, espionage? No, let's pat all the millennials on the head and tell them it's all going to be okay. And if that very evil spy points a gun at you, you tell him no. The patriarchy is no longer allowed. No. And he's a bad man. Then he'll put a bullet in your head, toss you in a ditch, and set your body on fire. But we live in clown world right now, as you can see. And it's just hilarious. People are stupid, and they like it. They like to be stupid. And it's fully within our right to have contempt for them and to ridicule them and to trigger them through their emotions and allow them to be their own destruction. Costanza says, so Joe will purposely have it Saturday night. Looks like it. Truth Seeker says, Drew announced it yesterday. Chad says, our country has become so pussified, I think many of us would welcome the Russians if they came. Yep. Ryan Murray says, Gavin McInnes did a hilarious breakdown of the CIA vid. I did not see that. Chad says, the people that are woke today would be the first to die under the type of regime whole America seeks. Yep. Woke America seeks. Yep. Wrap a tire around them. Yep. Yeah, well, they do that in fucking Africa. They'll put a tire around somebody, douse them in petrol or gasoline for you Americans, and then they'll set it alight. Travis says, it's weird how the account, the men, the mist, the legends said they love Dave Rose stream but has nothing else to say. Weird. Yes, I thought it was very peculiar, to say the least. And Ryan Murray says, but who makes these woke hires at the CIA? Do they have womans at the top? They have a lot of trannies now. It's a very intricate thing, which I will go into in a future episode once I get things working in regards to my new show for the conspiracies and stuff. So we'll go into that. Man with two first names says, smoke gelato strain and it's sublime. Yeah, it's a good strain, actually. I tried that a few times. Tastes yummy. Does a good job. Wandy says, hope the China rocker drops in America. I'm not sure what the rocker is. So tonight is steak night, because I said so. And I'm not sure if I'm going to make the creamed spinach tonight, or if I'm just going to have some honey glazed vegetables, or honey glazed tomatoes. I can't even talk. Honey glazed carrots, maybe with some roasted tomatoes. Well, baby cherry tomatoes. Roasted potatoes in the oven with a lot of cloves of garlic, whole, obviously. And I don't know, I was thinking something else. We'll see. Well, yeah, green salad. And if I could, I'd eat steak every single day. Every single day. Ryan Murray says, which sides do the FBI and CIA lean? I've seen left leanings from both recently. Through the CIA is more right leaning, though. No, the whole system is infiltrated with woke culture. Recently, there was some sort of they put this on Twitter, but they were like, "Oh, it was the first helicopter flight that was entirely gay," and like there was like 4 people on the helicopter, and they're all like holding the rainbow flag and stuff. And people made the memes like, you know, examining like badass shit in fucking Russia or fucking China and other things with their military, and then comparing to this clear joke. And it's just so funny that this is occurring, and so many people are blind to it. By the way, this whole video with Cronin saying about the microchip and stuff. Yeah, I only talked about it for 5 minutes, but he actually, I'm sure you can believe this, but he actually said that he would want to be microchipped. This man is he is a transhumanist. He is a fucking transhumanist. Now, that is the ultimate goal for those that, you know, see beyond the scale of communism, because that is the ultimate goal, is transhumanism. And, you know, obviously the useful idiots, as they call them, they're, you know, they learn what they're told in academia, like, oh, this, you know, injustice, blah, blah, blah. They don't realize that the elite above them want to push that in, because they're just going to have them as slaves, and they're still going to remain elite. So, yeah, you're going to try to share, like, wealth redistribution will happen with people closer to these people's economic levels, but you're not going to get any wealth sharing from the ultra elite like the Rothschilds. So they're going to continue to rule over these people. And yeah, these useful idiots are always the first ones to be executed. This has happened time and time again every time a socialist revolution has been put into place. Yes, Ryan Murray, Yuri Bezmenov did try to warn us back in 1982, I believe. And that video's out there. I'd very much recommend that people check it out. Just type in his name into YouTube and watch the entire interview. He breaks it down entirely and perfectly. And it's just so obvious. And it's just funny because Cronin continues to make some of these videos as if he's knowledgeable on the topic, and he won't debate me on things, so clearly he's not. And we know this from the past as well with Final Frontier News and stuff. You can just see this. And basically just about any other show. I mean, shit, his wrestling shows, he relies on Jake to fucking watch the show and do the fucking review for him. So I've got to call you out there, Joey Jojo Shabadoo Jr. The fact is that you don't know what you're talking about, but you talk from a point. You talk like a woman. A female. A woman has certain characteristics that define her and make her a balanced individual. A female is just the reference to the type of gender they have. And the appeals to emotion is what a female does when it comes to their arguments. You've seen it with Leah with her arguments, and she gets mad when it gets pointed out, just as every other female does. Not woman, female. When you point out that, yes, women biologically are much more emotional, and as such aren't intellectually capable of debating something devoid of that emotion, well, then you get these emotional outbursts. It's just the reality of the situation. But Joe will try to posit these sorts of stances like, oh, well, the world will be so much better if I was president. If I did this, it would all be feelings and blah, blah, blah. And, oh, I would know better. I don't have any idea about economics, foreign policy, but no, my feelings would define what would make the world a better place. I know so much. And in fact, if you don't agree with me, well, I sit on the fence all the time. So, I've got a better view of everything than anyone who actually takes a stance, and stands by their stance. There was something he said the other day, which proved him so much as a fence sitter. And there's a few things that I saw. One of them was, and I may have mentioned this, but one of them was, there was a riot or there was some sort of altercation outside of Dodger Stadium where a bunch of people started to get into a fight and throw shit and blah, blah, blah. And from what I saw, the majority of them did look light-skinned, white. I believe there may have been a few Latinos there. There may have been some black people. I don't know. I do know that Joe decides to put that onto fucking Twitter or retweet it. And then he's like, see, we do it too, in reference to white people, being violent for stupid reasons. Well, yet again, it's a red herring. It's a total red herring that Joe is, and I believe it's a conscious lie. You have literally let's say most 24 people fighting being stupid drunk. Then you have 50, 60,000 roving terrorists that are destroying cities and burning shit down, preventing ambulances from reaching people that need them. You're going to compare that, the billions of dollars of damage, the clear insurrection. That was an insurrection. Not the fucking shit that went down at fucking, at the fucking, the Capitol. What happened during the summer of 2020 was an actual insurrection. And, I remember now. Let me just do something here. Just writing a note down so I'll remember this. I'm going to go back to the chat. Okay, so. Let's see here. Chad says, what man with two first names? You don't want to be identified by your sexuality? How come? Man with two first names, that may have come off as an insult. The tone has meant to be sarcastic. Look, if they can take it in the ass, they can take a joke. Ryan Murray says, Yuri's most chilling thing he said was, this is over a long period of time, not overnight. It still gets chills. Well, no, that's incrementalization. That's how it's always worked. And if you can't step back and actually see the whole picture, then you don't have a right to fucking speak. Joe. Goon says, COVID came from the Chinese eating a bat. The open food markets in China sell bat on a stick. And it says they've been consuming bats for many years, including starfish and rats. Well, no, it was actually weaponized. It didn't come from eating a bat. They were experimenting on bats. And there is that, what's it called? There is that lab, the Wuhan lab, that this basically was released from. But yes, they do have open markets, open wet markets, and they do serve a lot of different exotic food. They also at one point, or meats, at one point I think they said the pangolin, or I can't remember what the fuck that thing is called. It's got a bunch of scales on there, but it's a mammal and it walks on two legs. It's got a long leg. They were trying to throw it onto that as well and stuff. But it's just, look, at this point there's so much evidence. I know, Chinese agent Travis doesn't like to hear this, but there's just overwhelming evidence that it actually was purposely released it was developed in China, but not just by the Chinese, okay? There was a lot of influence, support, material-wise and otherwise, from America, from Canada, from Europe, European countries. But it was basically weaponized there in China, and then it was released on purpose. Okay, back to the chat here. Reimer says, white supremacists are murdering Asians like crazy right now. No, wait, I think I made a typo there. I think you did. Not that Joe Cronin would ever publicly admit this, and it's just so funny. Now, number one, there is the fact that Joe has previously either mentioned this or made videos about it, and he'll say, yeah, oh, it's another race, it's not whites, but he'll never fucking name them. He'll never fucking name them. And this, again, goes right back to proving Dave Rose correct. There's one group that to Joe is untouchable. There's one group that Joe believes is untouchable, and he's willing to prostrate himself for that group. It's true. It's a total true case of white guilt. But let's talk about this. He made a video. I think it was during this 30-minute video on the microchip, which he only talked about it for 5 minutes. But okay, so he's talking about how the Democrats tried to run with the whole Russiagate story, and how they kept throwing out all these ridiculous fucking just fallacies on Trump, trying to get some sort of traction. One of those stories, they had Ukraine, they had Russia, they had fucking what else did they have? Well, there's this one that I'm going to talk about now, which is the Pissgate story. Joe doesn't even know the fucking story, but hey, that doesn't stop him from fucking talking about it. Here's what really happened. They made up there was these operatives in Russia that were being paid by the Democrats and money laundered through them, or to them through another person. But they made up this story where Trump went to a hotel in Russia, rented 2 whores, and basically had them stand on a bed that apparently Obama slept in while he was in Russia, and to piss on a photograph or a photocopy, whatever, of Trump's face, of Obama's face. So supposedly he rented 2 whores, went to that hotel room that Obama had, and he paid them to piss on these two prostitutes. He paid them to piss on Obama's face that was on a photograph. It's fucking ridiculous. So that was well proven wrong. It's so evident, and there's so many retractions that people had to make. People got sued. This exploded as soon as it was found out, and obviously people on there were laughing every time one of these fucking things would come up. People would laugh because, look, if there was dirt on him, he wouldn't have even been able to get past the fucking debate where somebody would have pulled out something so dirty on him they would have forced him to fucking quit. So they keep coming up with all these stupid and really pathetic attempts to take the guy out. Stuff that it just takes a little bit of effort to fucking prove is wrong. For a normal citizen journalist, not somebody who's fucking, deep in the fucking intelligence industry stuff. Normal people can figure this out. So Joe Cronin, referring to Pissgate, he's like, yeah, it got proven wrong. So, it's probably wrong. And he kept saying that. It's probably wrong. So Joe Cronin, think of this, people. Joe Cronin actually thinks that there's still a possibility of truth that Trump was involved in this Pissgate scenario. Now, I've been talking for a bit. I want to catch up with some of the chat, so I'm going to scroll up to read. But please, people, give me your thoughts on what I just said in regards to Joe and his undeniable cuckish faggotry, where even after Trump is out of office, he still can't forgive the orange man for saying things that hurt his little feewees. And his wife's feewees. Because that's apparently where a big problem comes there. Trump evil. Back to the chat, so let's see here. Travis says, I don't care what anyone says about China for the 7th fucking time. Ryan Murray says, there's a lot of Americans involved. The last American vagabond, a YouTuber, got taken down for saying it. Yeah, well, if they take me down, then 2 other channels will sprout up in its stay. And that'll keep happening. You cannot take the head off the Hydra. It's as simple as that. Chad says, we know, Travis. It's just fun now. You are the China guy. Ryan Murray says, Project Veritas just exposed CNN for that story. You may not see it on the MSN. If you dig a little, you will. Yep. Julian says, there are 2 places in China where the SARS-CoV-2 is suspect to be leaked. The Institute of Virology and the Center for Disease Control, both in Wuhan. Yeah. From what I had seen, it seems to have been the first one, but the fact that there could have been multiple is also very intriguing as well. Chad also says, plus most of us are kind of jealous about your plethora of authentic kimonos. Julian says, I agree with Dave. SARS-CoV-2 is a weaponized virus. Absolutely. And the vaccine probably is worse than the cure. And by the way, Joe was saying that apparently Leah had gotten the vaccine lately. And by the way, if you keep fucking her, the fact is that the vaccine can be transmitted sexually. They've already proven that. And it can affect your virility and and leave you sterile. So, and there's some really bad things I've been hearing about, some stuff that I don't even like to discuss, like what's happening with people's reproductive organs and stuff, and the failures and so yeah, basically even doctors have recommended, I think, 28 days to go without any sexual activity if your partner got the vaccine. Let's see here. Shout out to Lucky Lowe's in the chat, who says, shout out to the DR in the chat. Wandy says, Trump is a legend. Festlove says, respect Lucky Lowe. Lucky Lowe says, these Black Sun Saturn worshippers will be exposed soon, bro. We'll see. But yeah, I thought it was important to bring up that whole thing, that even at this point, remember, Joe, the apolitical individual who's more than willing to talk about politics and tell you how you need to vote for somebody or how some candidate is better than another, doesn't vote at all. And he knows what's best. So obviously when he says, well, Trump probably didn't do it, despite the overwhelming evidence that proves he didn't do it, proves how corrupt the FBI and the Democratic Party is, he's just a little boy that will never get over the fact that the Orange Man said bad things. He hurt my feewees. My feewees hurt because Orange Man said bad things. Yeah, I may have benefited economically from him. Yeah, we had political stability while he was in power, but yeah, I'm a cuck and my wife fucking is constantly whining about Trump. So, yeah, I gotta think that too. But he does think that, though. That's the problem. It's not an act. He actually believes that Trump was on a similar level to like a lot of other really, really corrupt individuals. Was Trump perfect? No. Did he fuck up a lot? Yes, I called it out. I was constantly calling it out. I was saying, why this? Why that? But, you can't reach someone like Cronin who's obviously really stuck in his ways because he thinks he knows when he doesn't. But hey, you could never actually allow for anyone to prove that because, a debate would actually expose you to being the nepotistic liar that you are, or at least disingenuous. Why won't Joe address who's doing the predominant number of Asian attacks? We all know the answer. We all know the answer of who's doing it. Why won't he address it, though? Why? No, man with two first names, he did not vote for Trump. He did not vote for Trump. He's a habitual fence-sitter, for one, and he's quite unpatriotic, because I would think it's your duty. No, actually, no, I would. Not this I would think. It is your fucking duty to vote. If not, go to a fucking country where they fucking steal your vote. Oh, don't let you vote. Oh, they have a perpetual dictator. Or just don't complain about the political situation in your country when you never chose to fucking step up and be a man and do your duty to vote. Yeah, I agree, man with two first names. But, this whole thing with probably, that stuck with me as someone who's got some limit of Trump derangement syndrome. It's not as bad as Leah's. It's not as bad as many of those SJWs out there, but it's bad. It's so bad that literally he can't accept the fact that he's wrong on this. But, hey, he'll always perpetuate these lies, slip the jab. I'm sure that we'll have a few coming my way soon enough. But, if he really wanted to prove himself, he could easily just debate me on air. And I've always, again, unlike him, who tries to trick people because he's not capable enough to fight his own battles, I've already explained, I would allow for each of us to choose a moderator. And the person who had chosen a moderator would ask the opponent the question. So it would be fair. Because even when the rules are against me, even when the odds are against me, I still make it on top. Remember how many times I've walked into the cave of lions that is monetize this, and like Neo, everyone's firing those fucking bullets. Those lions with their machine guns are firing those bullets, and me like Neo just putting my hand up and those bullets stop. Yeah, that happened in the movie, but regardless. Look, 1-on-1, I can do it. 1-on-10, I can do it. But what about Joe? I think it's appropriate for Joe to address a lot of these things, but we know he won't. Yeah, I could trust Lucky Low to. I even said this the other day that he could pick. Well, not the other day, but months ago. But he could pick, say, Drew, and I could pick Ken, for example, or somebody else. I mean, look, debates don't scare me. The truth doesn't scare me. And I know I can hold my own. But the thing is, though, I don't rely on emotion, on appealing to emotion to prove a point or to win an argument, if you want to go that far. But we know Joe does. And it's unfortunate because, maybe he would learn something if he got into a debate with me. But he does sort of have to address some of this stuff here. I kind of do think he does. And again, with the politics and stuff, he knew what was going to happen if Biden got into power, but no, Orange Man bad, and therefore, fuck the Orange Man. The fact that he can't even see how much corruption exists in America and how easily it is to affect elections, it blows my mind how people can be so ignorant. Now, this is different from someone like Bullfrog, who clearly is genetically inferior and should probably have been aborted. But Joe isn't stupid. He can act stupid, and he is ignorant, but, I mean, he can learn stuff. And I just don't see a reason why he would fall for this shit or try to push this shit. But I still think it's important to address, especially when, again, just like with the Asian hate crimes, he's not addressing who's the culprit, although he knows who it is. And it goes back to what I was saying, that, yeah, there's other groups he will criticize, but there's one group that is like a sacred lamb to him. Now, this could be because of either white guilt, or it is leftist liberal mentality where they actually do see blacks as their pets. And I remember that when I started saying that term on Monetize This and other shows, Joe started using it as well. Oh, back to the chat here. Ryan Murray says, it's a shame, Dave, because every time you were in that situation, even JB had to capitulate to the mob, even though I know he didn't want to. Yep. Well, that's the thing, though. These people, I've seen this forever. These people think that until you actually do that, capitulate to the mob, that that they're justified in doing a mob attack on somebody and attempting to basically force someone into saying or believing something that they don't believe. And that is literally fucking communism. And yeah, I remember it's funny because like Leah would say something like, Dave Rose can never admit that he's wrong. It's like, well, I have, for one. And on top of that, it's just like, no, it's not about admitting wrong. It's like, I'm not going to acquiesce to your feelings. Just because you're offended doesn't mean I'm factually incorrect. And if you get offended by that and can't handle it, well, then I guess you're the one with the problem, not me. But these people don't get it. And, well, if they're going to be like little bitches like S.C. Steve, who can't accept the fact that, yeah, there are people that are more intelligent than them, superior to them, and are going to act in that way because they have earned it, unlike you, well, people are going to call you out, and they're going to rightfully have contempt for your illegal ass. Chad says, JB isn't conservative. He voted for Obama, for Christ's sake. Yeah, he's a Democrat. But he's a firearm-owning Democrat, which scares Leah. Because firearms are evil. And she said, oh, I grew up around firearms. Well, then why is she so afraid of them? Why is she so concerned about them? I mean, we heard about, what's his name? Tony, who apparently got jacked in Boston. And, they were using guns and stuff. And you can get a gun in the Boston area. So, yeah, I mean, it's only, and this whole, it's going back about the, my crossbows. I wonder how often he's had the ability to practice and how accurate he really is. Shit, he called the ammunition for a crossbow a bullet. It's called a bolt. I mean, it's like someone says, I can race in the F1 and doesn't even know what a clutch is. Hold on a second here. Yeah, he did support Bernie, and he was very upset when he lost. But here's the thing, so did Joe. Joe supported Bernie, but I guess he only supported Bernie just for the clout points or for the attention, because he's so disingenuous in his understanding on politics and his beliefs anyways, that it's more like, I guess, like, oh, look, I would have voted for this guy. Remember, he said in 2012 he cheered for Obama. He didn't vote for Obama, which he did the previous time, but he cheered for Obama. How can you even take pride in that? How can you take pride in not voting in a national election and try to make yourself sound like you did something good? That's like all these fucking white allies for BLM, like, I held up the sign for you guys, like, I'm good. Please don't call me racist. I get so many donations from the darkies. Lucky Low says, Dave, can you believe that these people created the 8 white identities chart? Yes. And, well, if that's what they want to define that's perfectly fine. I mean, it's ridiculous. We all see through it. But hey, I'll be the most extreme on that chart, and I'll be proud of it. No one's going to change anything about that. And if you try, well, look into the history books to see what happened when you try to push certain groups to extinction. Let's see here. Chad says, I used to load my dad's revolver before he would go to work in the 80s. I've never shot anybody in my life, pointed a gun at a human. Yeah, I'm a normal person. Ryan Murray says, how is Indiana blue? Well, I know it's because of the cities. Yes, usually it's just because there's so many liberals in cities, and they force people into poverty, and those people rely on government services, so of course they're going to vote for bigger government. Who offers bigger government? It's the Democrats. A very simple concept, but Joe Cronin doesn't understand these things. Pity, Lucky, I wish you would call in, but you can always put your food on hold and come spend your time here. Or you could eat on air, just like YR does. Ryan Murray says, well, in hindsight, would you vote for McCain in comparison to Trump? That would have been just economic suicide. You were just coming off fucking Obama's economic disaster. And if it wasn't for Trump, the country would have fallen into an economic recession, similar to what you're seeing now. And there definitely would have been war in Ukraine against Russia. Now, obviously, Democrats are back in power, and that's exactly what they want. Plus, they want to basically instigate a war with Iran. And, yeah, remember, Trump was the one that canceled the Iran deal. And that pissed a lot of people off. Well, Democrats. But, you know, the Biden administration reinstituted that. And Israel isn't too pleased, so they're probably going to try to egg on America to fight their battles for them. Let's see, what else? Lucky Low says, everyone should be proud of their heritage, culture or heritage. Well, if they have something to contribute. If you never invented the wheel, well, I'm not going to necessarily praise your culture. Ryan Murray says, can't be proud of your heritage if you're white, Lucky. Well, that's maybe what the leftists would like to convince people of, but that doesn't work. That works for people that don't have a culture. And, well, let's take a look at Europe during the Renaissance. I don't think there's much that we need to go into detail. Lucky says, first you would have to define what makes an individual white. Yes, now we're getting into genetics and stuff, and there's a lot more that goes into that. And Lucky does know a fair bit when it comes to genetics and such. But we are much more talking about the social aspect of this, and we constantly see this from time to time. And yeah, I've got to bring up Cronin because we're talking Cronin, and we see this all the time, is that it's this constant attempt to try to garner points from people, to say, oh, look, well, white people do it too. Well, why don't you examine the statistics to see how often white people do it compared to others, and then tell me which one's worse? No, but Joe would never do that, though. Joe can't acknowledge reality. It would cause such cognitive dissonance in him that he'd have to re-examine his entire existence. And here's the thing that people need to understand is it's not our responsibility to keep people sort of padded up and protected to reality, especially when their false reality is imposing on your reality, which is real. So pushing these fallacies or not trying to give the full idea does, as I said many times in the past, it does radicalize individuals. There's a lot of individuals that donate to Joe, that have certain thoughts that are extremist, and Joe, never, always being the perpetual fence sitter, will never sort of call out or say, oh yeah, it's kind of funny and stuff, and oh, kill white people and stuff. He thinks that's funny. Why don't you say that about black people and say it as often as you say it about white people? It's just so hypocritical, and it's going to be called out. And until Joe can actually debate this properly, or just admit the facts, which he never will, then I'm going to have to continue to call this shit out. And as more shit happens, as more shit's undeniable, like I could do a full episode on anti-Asian crimes, and I could go from 2008 till 2021. Okay? Well, that probably wouldn't make many of Joe's fans very happy, but I wonder why that would be. Because I'd be proving a fact that Joe has tried to remove from reality, that he won't even acknowledge as being true. So if you ignore a problem, it's going to get better, right? Is that right, Joe? And just ignore something, it gets better. You can't name the culprit because, what? You think you might be called racist for pointing something out? You think if you say 2 + 2 is 4 and not 3, that you're going to be called racist? Well, then what do you stand for then, Joe? What do you stand for? I mean, how honestly, how can you do this? How can you continue to perpetuate these blatant fallacies and think that you're not going to be called out for it, or people are really going to shit on you because it's total hypocrisy? It blows my mind, and I think a simple debate would solve it. But, I don't think Joe has ever been confident with confrontation, especially when it has to be solo. He can do it when he's got 5-10 people on his stream yelling at that one person, but one-on-one, too dangerous. Dave he's way too powerful. That's what he's admitting with this. He's way too powerful to go up on my own. Or he's just way more capable and could just destroy me. So rather than address the topic, let's have other people throw out ad hominems. And we've seen this in the past, when he's trying to bring up a good point. You got stupid people there, and I made a point about, like years ago, about how you could kill someone with a fish. Well, if you know criminal statistics in America, more people are killed through a bludgeon force, hard impact, from bats, from baseball bats, from fucking hammers, 2x4s and stuff. More people are killed that way than with guns, with firearms, whether they be pistols or rifles. More people get killed in that way. Fists even. So I try to dumb down the point so that these morons could understand, and it became a fucking meme. Like, oh, Dave Rose says you can kill someone with a fish. Well, yeah, you know what? Give me a fucking nice large-sized trout, and, if I can get a good swing on your head, I could probably kill you. But that's the thing, though. Nobody seems to just think about that. He's trying to make a point here by using an analogy that our simplistic little peanut-sized brains can understand. No. It's like, Dave Rose says you can kill someone with a fish. Let's forget the fact that, yeah, that fucking 50-pound fish right to my temple could probably kill me, but yeah, let's ignore that. So, we've seen this before. And, well, since logic and reason doesn't seem to work, well, then I guess ridicule and contempt will have to. Either way, at least it helps us highlight this stupidity, and we have something to watch, enjoy, and laugh at. But I think it's long overdue that Joe finally addresses this. And it would be nice, but I just don't believe it'll ever happen. I don't think Joe will ever have the guts. Because I think that's what it is. It's just the courage necessary to actually stand up and call things out. I mean, if he wants to just stick it with wrestling, well, then stick it with wrestling. But if you're going to start talking crime stuff and, you know, even start tweeting, well, you're going to be called on your stuff. And just because you got faggots like Nick Lewis, or Parker as he goes by now, donating to you, you know, total leftist, doesn't mean that he and you aren't going to be called out on this. Lucky Low says, Dave, what are your thoughts on the Gates divorce distraction? Funny how they don't publicize about all the deaths caused due to his failed vaccinations. Yes, it is a distraction, very much like the Bezos divorce. This is just another attempt to launder money. Remember, a lot of these tech companies, basically they're CIA fronts. So this money essentially, and they're making billions, is essentially going through different channels and funding these organizations. And Gates's father, William Gates III, I believe, or the second, William H. Gates II, worked with the Department of Defense. He worked, I think, with the Rand Corporation. He's deep state. He's deep state. And this whole story that they crafted about Bill Gates basically being this high school dropout and like he just, you know, somehow made this work together out of luck and all that stuff. It's all fucking, it was all fabricated. But yeah, just like the Bezos thing where his wife got like, you know, hundreds of billions of dollars, it's the same thing. They're all, it's all being laundered. And it is a distraction because they're trying to, I guess, control the attention of the public in this, and yeah, ignore the fact that Gates is highly involved in the worldwide eugenics plan, and he has been working with DARPA, for example, to start instituting the chipping of the population, and other very nefarious sort of plans for humanity. Again, if I, I encourage anyone that wants to call in to call in. We've been going for 2 hours. I think we'll go for another half hour. But, yeah, if anyone wants to call in, please do. What else is going on these days? Yeah, this, Ryan Murray says, is every new UFO video a distraction? It is, it's somewhat, but it's also, it's a psyop, basically. It's trying to sort of prepare us, but in a subconscious manner. So, you know, they've been trying to plant this seed for quite some time. I mean, shit, we had the Navy 2-3 years in a row, like, you know, show a video of them intercepting, you know, a UFO. And not much fanfare in the media. Came out on MSN, you know, or on the mainstream media, but no biggie. It's, yeah, it's a psychological operation that's planned to slowly continue to plant the seed in people's minds, and you know, eventually when something occurs, most probably a blue beam operation where they're going to utilize holographs to essentially make it appear like there's some sort of alien invasion. They're going to try to utilize that for some sort of additional control over the population. Ideally, it's always going to be a one world order. That's what they want. One monetary system, one council, one set of laws. That is their ultimate goal, and they've publicly admitted this stuff. Anyone who sort of scoffs at it really is the conspiracy theorist. And yeah, a big distraction is a lot of the times they point to UFOs being from off-world, but that's a distraction as well. That helps unite for what they would like. But 99% of these UFOs are actually made here on Earth. Some are made by humans, some are not. But they're from Earth. So what else here? It looks beautiful outside, but it's fucking cold. And it's too late. I'm itching to fucking go do some fishing. Definitely want to get some perch, and I want to do a shore cook, shore bake, and yeah, maybe next week. That should be good. So let me just see what else is in the news today. So I think there was a few other things I wanted to discuss. But yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to need to do an auction to see how much money people are willing to pay for a Bullfrog tribunal. But it seems to be getting to that point. And it's not like I haven't tried to get things working better. Chad says perch is poor man's shrimp in northern New York. Yeah, they're very plentiful up here, and good quality meat, nice and flaky, and yeah, fairly easy to put together. So yeah, and I can get a lot of different types of fish up here. Large and smallmouth bass. Large and smallmouth bass. What else do we got up here? We've got salmon. What else do we have? Trout. I gotta look up the list of things. But there's a nice varied amount of breeds of fish up here. So yeah, there's a lot to choose from, and the waters are fairly fresh and clean. And you know, I've been looking into just the health precautions and stuff, and looks like I really shouldn't have an issue at all. So I'm also hoping, because we've got an invasive species up here called rusty crawfish, or rusty crayfish, goes by both names. And I'm thinking to make myself a trap for them, and try to collect as many as I can, and just have a crawfish boil on the beach. But I've got to wait till it gets warmer and start hitting up the creeks for that. But there's problems though, because they're an invasive species, you can't really transport them. So you can't even take them back to your vehicle to take them home to eat. So you got to eat them where you catch them. So you got to be a little creative as to how you go about this. And there's certain areas where you can't burn and you can't have a fire, but you can have certain types of fires. So I got to figure out a strategy on how to do this. But I'm going to do it nonetheless, and I even hope to have it recorded. But yeah, nice little short bake. I'd like to make it varied, so that would be cool. Goon says, not to give credit to other YouTubers, but I think you'd enjoy a channel called Barely Sociable. Never heard of it. Festlove says, I love scallops. Chad says, smallmouth trout and bowfin are the best pound-for-pound fighting fish I've caught on Lake Ontario and its subsidiaries. Interesting. Lake Ontario is definitely a big lake, and if you've got a boat to get out on there, it's definitely makes it worthwhile. But I'm cool with shore fishing, and fish that I can cook. So I'm definitely down with those types of opportunities. I definitely do like the idea of cooking my meal right there at the beach, or the side of the creek or whatever, and doing that on video and showing people how easy it can be. So, let's see here. Back to the chats. At one point, we had about 60 fake viewers, which was cool. We'll see what happens tonight with the Bullfrog, where he goes and who he might talk to. But a lot of people were giving me some support privately in regards to this. Joe, still waiting for that RSVP on the race debate. And yeah, we got Dirty Rotten Podcast tonight. Looking forward to that. I'd like to have Mars on one of my my shows to talk mysteries and conspiracies and stuff, because he knows quite a bit, and there's all these stories about the American Midwest and stuff, and he was talking about that lady in the cave and stuff, and I looked into that, and there's like so much information. So it's just cool that he knows about a fair bit of that stuff, and VP knows about the Giants and other things of that region. So definitely I want to pick their brains and get their thoughts on certain topics and stuff. But yeah, I gotta figure out what the name is of the show. I'm trying to think of a unique name. I didn't really want to start using darker things again. I did that, but still, I don't know. I'm working a few things out and stuff. So nothing in the meantime. Chad says, I've trolled on Lake Ontario, but I prefer bay fishing for smallmouth. Nice. Yeah, having a boat, though, is nice. Festlove says, my guess is Bullfrog will be with Junebug on a Friday morning stream tomorrow. Good call, buddy. I'm almost sure that would be the first one he'd go to, because I don't think Joe does have a show tonight. And yeah, the first thing that would be on would probably be, it would probably be that Junebug show. Oh, there's the Bullfrog, he says. Let's get Froggy. Me and Dave are getting Froggy tonight. I'm not even sure if that's the real Bullfrog, but you can call in. Nobody's stopping you from calling in. Could be a fake. It could be a fake Festlove, because if he really was watching, I think he'd be a little more perturbed by my previous comments throughout these past 2 hours. Been playing more of this fishing planet game that YR sometimes uses to stream his videos and stuff. But it's a cool game, actually. It's I find it a lot of fun, and it's relaxing. And graphics are fairly good, even with my system. The chili cheese, you shouldn't have him blocked, though. I timed him out, but like earlier, or I think it was him. It sounded like him. I timed him out, but you shouldn't be blocking people. Like, at least, with Bullfrog, for example, you got to check in with me to see whether or not it should be. But Bullfrog also, I don't have him blocked on Skype, so he could easily message me and tell me. Or could call me, because he did the other day. Oh, so you're not the real Bullfrog, so you just come in to waste time. Good stuff. You have so much pride in yourself, you got to use Bullfrog's name. Of all people, Bullfrog's. Oh, Bam says Joe has Out of Nowhere tonight. I thought that was canceled. I know Throwdown was canceled, and he did one the other day because he just wanted to name him that. And then now Out of Nowhere, which I guess is another wrestling show. Well, it is a wrestling show, but I don't know if he's changed the format. Oh, you meant on your personal account. Chili Cheese J, yeah. Yeah, a lot of people have Bullfrog banned. You can't blame them. But, hey, who knows what we're going to see from the Bullfrog in the next few days. How many shows he's going to jump to from lily pad to lily pad, seeking somebody to help him out from all these people that hate me. Tell them I'm 41 years old and I can sexually harass whoever I want. I'm sure a resolution could be reached, but we can't keep playing this game, Bullfrog. We can't keep going around in circles. And you're the one who chooses not to adhere to the rules. But I guess that's the way she goes. Well, on that note, nobody's calling in. Not much else to talk about. It's 4:37 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this impromptu little stream. And, yeah. I guess we will be talking soon. Be sure to check out Dirty Rotten Podcast tonight on the Mars Mira channel. And on Saturday night, you got Foul Mouth's Insomniac. So on that note, you guys have yourself